Hello and welcome to Calm the Pharm podcast, where pharmacy business meets legal wisdom, minus the headache. In each episode, we share practical legal tips and real-life examples to help you run your pharmacy with confidence. I'm your host, Sarah Stoddart. Thanks very much for joining us. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Calm the Pharm podcast, and the first one for 2026. Regardless of when you're tuning into this episode, I hope all is well with you and that you had a happy and safe end of year period. For the next few episodes of the podcast, I'm going to go through the general requirements of the pharmacy location rules as they currently stand. Now, the general requirements are requirements that apply to every single rule in the pharmacy location rules. So regardless of how you're applying, these requirements will be relevant to your application. So I'm going to do one or two each week for the next couple of weeks. So starting with the first one is pretty much the most straightforward one of the whole list of general requirements, and that is that at all relevant times, the proposed premises are not approved premises. Now, the term at all relevant times actually has meaning in the pharmacy location rules, so it's important to understand what that means. And what it means is the day on which the application is made, so that's the day which it is lodged, and the day on which the application is considered by the authority. So that is the meeting date at which it is considered. So those two dates together form the relevant times for the purposes of the rules. So for this first requirement, at all relevant times, the proposed premises are not approved premises, you need to demonstrate to the authority that the premises which you are seeking to get approval for are not already approved premises. Now, that's pretty straightforward because 99.9% of the time they aren't approved premises, and it's often sufficient simply to state that. However, you do need to know that it is still a requirement that needs to be met. Also interesting to know is that the department will actually verify this internally. So you can make the statement that it's not approved premises. There's no need to actually submit any evidence for that. They will verify it at their end. The next requirement that I'm going to talk to today is that the proposed premises will not be directly accessible by the public from within a supermarket. So this is the last bullet point if you're following the bullet points in the pharmacy location rules. So that is, the proposed premises will not be directly accessible by the public from within a supermarket. For this requirement, you need to demonstrate to the authority that the proposed premises, being the pharmacy premises which you want approved, can't be accessed directly from the public from within a supermarket. So there's a few components to this one. Firstly, direct access. So it might be in a complex with a supermarket, but it's not directly accessible. So that means you can't walk, for example, from the supermarket straight into the pharmacy without going outside. That would be direct access, or of course a pharmacy within a supermarket would be direct access as well. So you need to demonstrate there's no direct access, and you also need to demonstrate that any access we're referring to is by the public, because of course there might be fire exits and that sort of thing which do give access, but that is not public access. Some ideas to help satisfy this requirement in terms of what evidence to provide would be a floor plan of your proposed premises, photographs of the area surrounding the proposed premises. So the floor plan helps to demonstrate that the only access to the proposed premises, so to the pharmacy, is through a designated access door, which can then be supported by photographs showing that particular door. You might also consider photos of the surrounding area to demonstrate either that there's no supermarket in the area or that the supermarket perhaps is not adjacent to the pharmacy. If the supermarket is adjacent, then that floor plan and showing where the doors are is going to be more important. It's also worth considering what actually is a supermarket, because you could have a pharmacy that sells supermarket lines and supermarket items. Does that mean the pharmacy is accessible from a supermarket? No, it doesn't. So the rules actually define a supermarket as meaning a retail store, the primary business of which is the sale of a range of food, beverages, groceries, and other domestic goods. It's intended to actually mean a retail store which has that as its primary business, in which a person does their weekly shopping. So things like selling specialist health food lines or other items which wouldn't enable a customer to do their weekly shopping probably is not going to constitute a supermarket. So also reference to the primary business also excludes department or variety stores, delis, cafes, etc. So you could have a cafe in your pharmacy, and there are pharmacies that have that. That does not constitute a supermarket. So that's episode 1 of the year and episode 1 of covering off the general requirements. Hope that's been helpful. I look forward to talking to you next week.